what untrained power looks like, but today we are going to find out if it's enough to race. This guy having fun cleaning his bike is Matteo, personal trainer, 68 kilos, he runs 20 to 30 kilometers a week, commutes 150 kilometers a week through London traffic. He never trained with a power meter. The only data point we have is an old Swift test, 187 watts, 2.83 watts per kilo on a flat indoor test, with no hills and no real world resistance. Here's the theory. Commuting through London for about 150 kilometers in traffic, stopping every traffic light, restarting, passing every bus, those are spike efforts. 150 kilometers a week of them, and this is the exact physiological body and train that you need for hill climbs.
So here we are in Swains Lane. Today we are going to test 3 climbs, 4 minutes, 2 minutes and 1 minute to see Matteo's test. The first one here is one of the most iconic, and it's Swains Lane. So we are about 8% average, peak of 17%, and we are around 900 meters. Today we're going to be slightly longer, so the test is going to be on the 4 minutes.
See those highlights of the Swains Lane. So we start with the first part, so it's divided mainly in 2 parts. Swains Lane, the first one, the tarmac is not the best, but it's slightly less steep. Then when you keep going, you need to already start with quite a good push and have an increased speed. Then you're pretty much here in the middle, and you can recognize it because on the right there is the entrance of the cemetery, and you can see now that we are in a more shadowy part, which is the steep bit with the peaks 17%. This part is really demanding. So having started before Swains Lane, Matteo had to go fast at the beginning, maintain that speed, and then start standing on the pedals when it's steeper in this part of the climb. He's doing really well. It's 4 long minutes. Also, there's quite a few bumps, as you've seen in the video. Those are definitely not helpful. Whatever you go on or whatever, you have to avoid them. The first test of 4 minutes ended up in 255 watts. The effort in the steep bit, it cost him a bit in the last 40 seconds to a minute.
We are here on the second hill, Muswell Hill. This one is very short, 0.63, so 600 meters. Is an average of 8.7%. Peaks marked as 16%. I feel there's slightly bit more on some peaks. Is the classic lambuster climb. The test here is on the 2 minutes, even though there's a possibility to do a bit more for Matteo, but we calculated the max power at 2 minutes at full gas.
Don't get tricked by the length of this climb. It's very short but really demanding. There's no moment when the steepness is lower. We have been a bit lucky here because it's a very trafficy road, and in this case the bus lane was empty, so we had no buses, so it was better for Matteo to concentrate just on his power, just on his 2 minutes effort. You can see there's quite a lot of traffic on the right side. It's not a road with any shadow, so it's all the way under the sun. After the first effort, this is a really demanding climb. You can see the steepness when you are riding, and you can see even from the video here. So it gives you the idea that it keeps going up, it keeps going up. So that's mentally is also a battle to arrive at the very end and finish these 2 minute efforts. 2 minutes, 287 watts at the end. Matteo started in this case a bit more conservative, considering how steep it was this climb, but it was also a bit shorter, and he managed to put a few extra watts at the end.
Before the last climb, we are talking about data, because today everything has been measured, every single watt, every single meter. We are not just guessing, we are not just feeling slow or fast, we are precisely measuring it with a new power meter, GEOID PM500.
The complete set includes the PM500 spider power meter and Senix PR3 crank with its 110 BCD 4-bolt design, perfectly compatible with a Shimano 105 speed system at 11 speed that we tested. Included in the box you also have the tools to mount it, a USB charger and also the quick installation manual. You can seamlessly sync your data to platforms like Swift, Training Peaks or Strava. And I know you want to know the weight. Is a lightweight design, 680 grams, and it has a ultra long life battery, 300 hours. It pairs over N+ and Bluetooth to any Garmin or Wahoo head unit. Accuracy is plus or minus 1.5%, which for training and testing is completely sufficient. What I'll say about it, if you're riding consistently and you want to actually know what your body is doing, this is the right entry point, $179. You don't need to spend $400 on a power meter to get meaningful data. You need consistency and you need a number you can trust. Matteo's been training for years without any of this. Imagine what you could do with 6 months of data behind it.
For the third climb, we're going to do 1 minute test. This is a climb, Alipalli. It's a bit longer, it leads to Alexandra Palace. It's a bit longer, 4.7% average, but with peaks of 9.9%. This hill is a bit slightly flatter than the rest. That's why we'll try with the 50 at the front to input more power on the 1 minute test. A full gas test to conclude our test today.
On the third effort, the legs are starting to get quite heavy. Long stretch and not so steep. That's why we tested the biggest ring at the front. Matteo started sitting and inputting as much power as he could, and then eventually he had to stand to input and keep up the power. It's been a hard day, many intervals, but he's trying to give everything to complete the last minute interval. Let's see the result. Let's see if he can pass the 300 mark. Yeah, Matteo managed to push quite hard even though it was hot, and he managed to use 300 watts for 1 minute. It could have been a bit more if started for fresh, but really good result considering he did the 2 minutes and the 4 minutes before. Based on the data, 255, 287 and 300, you can see is all marginal gain going from bottom to up, and the only test we had before it was 187 indoor test for the FTP. The numbers are still there, the training is still there.
It was terrific. I feel pretty tired, my legs are gone. But I'm very happy because I did my personal best on Swains Lane. I think, if I'm not wrong, I did 1 minute and 20 seconds better than last year. So this is a huge improvement. Now I'm using a power meter, so it's much more accurate.
And this is the classic commuter profile, when you need to start and stop, be in traffic, continuing swerving. So all those spikes up and down in terms of wattage when you are on your bike. And if you are commuting, you probably know that too. Well, definitely there is a good solid base to start there. With a proper design training, there's a really big possibility they can be really competitive in the future as well, and with a bit more specific training.
Probably yes, I'm quite ready. Yeah. I had to train a little bit more, but good legs.
The power meter is the PM500 GEOID, $179. Link down below in the description. If you want to see more tests like this, and if you want to see other videos with other tests, make sure you like the video, subscribe the channel, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you here for the next video. Ciao!